Lakers without Anthony Davis go on the road and beat the Houston Rockets in their first meeting of the year. They start off the Grammy trip 1-0. Lakers were fighting uphill, it seemed like, that entire first half. Just couldn't get a call to go their way, couldn't really close that gap. Kind of felt fortunate to be down 6. Refs missed a big goaltend. That would have been a 4-point swing. But came out in that third quarter and absolutely dominated, 32-17, and then came out in the fourth one on that big run, and it was ball game, James.
Yeah, I think, the first quarter they're trying to fill out a team that had been struggling a little bit. Westbrook, he shot a volume of shots tonight. Harden not really play his game, but the Lakers struggled a little bit in the first half. But you're right. They decided to play defense in that third quarter, Geeter. 17 points they only allowed. And then I think guys like McGee started to play defense. Pope, Kuz, a lot of guys in the absence of AD stepped up and played the game, and it was the defense that turned it around.
People talk about the Milwaukee Bucks and the Clippers and the Denver Nuggets having other guys besides their superstars. People don't really talk about the Lakers, others. Kuzma, a very nice game for him tonight, 23 points. KCP, 20 points, continuing almost a 2-month run of very good basketball for Kentavious Caldwell-Pope and, of course, LeBron James. And I'm not saying he should be the MVP, but if he's not at the top of your list right now, I'm not saying you're wrong, but I want to have lunch with you. I just want to point out a couple things.
I would agree.
I just want to point out the fact that the Lakers are 4-1 over the last week and a half without Anthony Davis. 3 wins on the road against probable Western Conference playoff teams, Dallas, OKC, and Houston. LeBron James, 31 points, 12 assists tonight.
For the Lakers, yet another added to the list, and LeBron and all of that, and I want to talk Houston because I feel like everybody kind of elephant in the room. They kind of like talk about it, and then we get to look. James Harden is maybe the toughest one-on-one Quran scorer to guard ever. I know people don't want to hear that, but what's in the bag? It's like a piñata. There's more coming, but 69, 70 shots, and they don't win the game. Doesn't something have to change? Been a lot of these the last few weeks here for Houston.
Look, I think you still give it time. I think that these are two guys that want to play with each other, despite the narratives that's being thrown out there by a lot of people outside of that infrastructure, that circle. I think that they enjoy playing with one another, and they haven't been getting the results as of late. But I think James has taken a step back, specifically in the OKC game. That was a game for Russell to get, huge numbers and hopefully a quality win, which did not happen. And also against the Portland team that, didn't equate to a win either. So they're trying to figure it out, but I think they'll be fine going forward.
How hard is it, though, a coach and player can help me on this, if I'm not trusting you consistently and keeping you in rhythm and that confidence where it needs to be, how tough is it to then decide in different spots, right? Like, hey, this game, we got to work here. When these guys are standing around a lot and watching the game when 2 other guys have the ball, Stan.
Well, yeah, look, it's not easy to be those other guys on Houston's team and to keep yourself involved in the game. Capella gets involved because he's a pick-and-roll guy, but then there's the 2 corner standers. That's their position on every play. You have right corner and left corner. That's the position you play in Houston. And it's tough to keep yourself, I think, at times enthused and defending. I give P.J. Tucker a lot of respect. It's not easy to go stand down there on offense and then still stay committed defensively. It takes a different type of guy. Look, I just don't think they have enough. I don't think they have enough around those 2 guys. I don't think they have enough diversity in their offense. And while their defense has been a little bit better, even in this stretch of losing 6 games in 11 nights, in 11 games, it's not good enough to carry them when they have bad offense. I just don't think this is their year.
Yeah, I don't think so either. But the only team that ever knocked them out when they was at their peak is the Golden State Warriors. And they had Kevin Durant, they had the Splash Brothers, and, no one could beat them when they was at, full and healthy. So I think that in their back of their heads, they thinking, look, if we can just stay healthy and get some momentum, play a little better defense, they got a realistic shot at coming out the Western Conference.
To me, size.
I'm going to challenge that
yeah,
one.
I mean,
too.
I'm going to challenge.
I'm saying what they think.
He just challenged his own comment.
I mean,
I'm saying that's what they think.
Yeah.
I was going to say, not the Warriors then, because they lost Christmas too again. So it's really any Warriors, but the size too. It's like if you got to be thinking, I got to beat the Lakers, right? I got to beat the Clippers. How am I going to do that? Okay, I could shoot, I could score a bunch, great. But inside, when you look at what the Lakers are bringing to the table, Capella fouls out or gets into trouble. Look, Hartenstein's played great in his role. I don't want to play in 30 minutes, Stan. I mean, how are you going to do that?
No, listen, and I think the biggest problem, if you really they'll say all the right things. James Harden, I think, has been great with that.
Yeah.
And he's been a good face of the franchise. I think right now he's got to be looking around with what the Clippers have and the Lakers have and saying, you know what, we don't have enough here. I think there's a lack of belief in Houston, not a lack of belief in their system or anything else. I think there's a lack of belief in them having enough talent to get it done.
I mean, look, being fair, if we're being honest with ourselves, if he had those pieces, do we know that then the game is going to adjust down to, like LeBron could go score 60 points during, especially the heyday of his career, anytime he wants. I mean, he knew he wanted to get more involved. I got to, because he's looking at how am I going to win a championship? I need to trust that they trust themselves. Do we think if he had more that we're going to see more distributing of the basketball? I don't know why we would believe that that's going to change.
I just don't think, for me, just watching them over the years, realistically, they don't have a shot at winning a championship because they don't invest their time on the defensive end of the floor enough. You look at the rotations, and there's so many breakdowns on the second tier and the back line of the defense. And you're sending everything to Capella and sometimes Tyson Chandler, who's a long in the tooth when he comes out there, and he's battle tested. But however, once Capella goes down, to Coach Point, who's the other guy? It's a huge drop-off. And now you're playing small ball with no defender at the rim. So I don't think they have a realistic shot if they're not hanging their hat on the defense.
They also, I go back to baseball, the last of many scandals that I've covered. But when somebody said they misremembered, they might have misremembered how good Eric Gordon is, too, because I understand he was out. But, look, you want to say, hey, look, we want him getting used to the sixth man again and playing a bit. Whatever the moment is that he starts doesn't matter. Lou scores 30-plus again tonight, and he played a ton of minutes. But Gordon is such a huge key piece because you have to defensively. You're a great defender. Fear him because, all right, swing, allowed to go to, I don't want to name a name and make anyone feel bad, but Eric Gordon going to hurt you if you let him do that. And he hasn't really been used the same way. Stan.
Well, but he was hurt for a good part of the year, so that's going to take a little time, I think, to get him integrated back in. I don't see it. I mean, they would need to make a move, and I can't even tell you what that move is. Like, I just don't see them being to the level, certainly of the LA teams, but I think Utah and Denver are better than them. I think Dallas is better than them. I think they're the sixth best team in the West.
And I don't think, Coach, to your point, I don't think a lot of people, really want to sign up to this run track.
No.
I don't think, people run and sprint the floor for opportunities. And when you're just being a spacer and just standing there in limited possessions, you know what? This is not something I want to be.
You're a wide receiver on the Army football team, or back in the 80s. Peyton's going to run the ball, just kind of hang over here. Now, Willie Gault was faster than anyone on the field, but he didn't have to run very much.
No.
Hand the ball off all the time. For those of you who remember when football was good.
Run your route.
In Chicago. There's more coming up on Game Time. We'll continue to keep you posted on what is going on around the league, including a closer look at the deadline. Do the Lakers really need anything to grab the board late? And then this, the inbound. Redick for the tie, no good. Clippers get out on the road, but again, defensively, wow, you saw this something. Memphis got 140 on them. New Orleans gets 130 on them. I know PG not there, but remember, all those other guys who were there, they played really good defense last year.
Yeah, no,
it's weird.
On the year, their defensive numbers have been good, but they've had a couple of outlier games where they haven't been real strong. And if you don't come with it, this New Orleans team can really score. Had they made free throws tonight, New Orleans would have gotten out of there with a win.
He has been perfect in every way playing basketball, and he ripped his shirt like Hulkamania. Now he's on center court yet again.
I don't see it. I mean, they would need to make a move, and I can't even tell you what that move is. I just don't see them being to the level certainly of the LA teams, but I think Utah and Denver are better than them. I think Dallas is better than them. I think they're the 6th best team in the West.
And I don't think, Coach, to your point, I don't think a lot of people really want to sign up to this run track.
No.
I don't think, people run and sprint the floor for opportunities. And when you're just being a spacer and just standing there in limited possessions, you know what? This is not something I want to be.
You're a wide receiver on the Army football team, or back in the 80s. Peyton's going to run the ball, just kind of hang over here. Now, Willie Gault was faster than anyone on the field, but he didn't have to run very much.
No.
Hand the ball off all the time. For those of you who remember when football was good.
Run your route.
In Chicago. There's more coming up on Game Time. We'll continue to keep you posted on what is going on around the league, including a closer look at the deadline. Do the Lakers really need anything to grab the board late? And then this, the inbound. Redick for the tie, no good. Clippers get out on the road, but again, defensively, wow, you still get something. Memphis got 140 on them. New Orleans gets 130 on them. I know PG not there, but remember, all those other guys who were there, they played really good defense last year.
Yeah, no,
it's weird.
On the year, their defensive numbers have been good, but they've had a couple of